Welcome back, everybody, to the Meeple Marathon. This one might seem out of the blue, but Chip Theory Games just started up their Kickstarter for the second printing of Cloudspire and their, I guess, first round of expansions for Cloudspire. So that kind of got me in the mood to play a Chip Theory Games product. Now, I don't own Cloudspire at the moment, but I am pledging for the base game in this current Kickstarter. So I really just, felt like playing some Too Many Bones. So this is Undertow. For those of you not familiar, it's kind of like the sequel to Too Many Bones. If you want to know more about how to play Too Many Bones and the basics of the game, feel free to check out my previous video on kind of the how to play Undertow. I also have an unboxing video that you can check out. So I'm not really going to cover the rules very much, but I am going to let you guys know that I am planning on playing a campaign over the course of the next couple weeks. So a campaign is really just kind of a 3 battle series. You always start with Barnacle, then you randomly choose somebody to play in the middle, and then you always finish up with Nobulus. But you kind of, the baddies are going to continue to get harder and harder and harder because you count up to 18 days and you don't reset the day counter. But you get to kind of hold over many of your stats from one baddie to the next. So this is really the best way, if you want to play it, to see what it's like to fill up your entire board and have so many action dice and just be super powerful. So we are going to give that a shot here, starting tonight with Barnacle. Now I am going to play with 2 heroes. I've got Duster with her faithful wolf sidekick Nightshade, and then I also have Gasket, who is more of a steam bot than a gear lock, but he's got some very interesting mechanics that I'll try to explain as they go along. But just to give you guys a little background information here, I'll read Barnacle's text here. Little is known about those dwellings in Daelore's aquatic depths. Murmurs of Barnacle's existence linger over every sea, river, and ocean. Of course, these tales are often soaked in ale at the local tavern, making the rumors that Barnacle is protecting something of great value difficult to confirm or deny. So we essentially have 18 days to defeat him, but we need those 18 days to also defeat 2 other tyrants as well. We can face Barnacle after just gaining 5 kind of victory points throughout our expedition. So that's the first time we'll be able to take him on if we feel like we are ready. So we're going to start on day 1 here, and we'll draw our first encounter card. This one reads, Success. The escape from the Obendar was draining, but now the real struggle begins. Better judgment stands at odds with the stomach's grumbling. Obviously, it's necessary to get as far away from the city walls as possible, but doing so without finding cover, to rest a bit and eat, may have dire consequences before long. A dissonant symphony of whirring mechs overhead, shouting guards nearby, and a stomach in anguish serves as a reminder that no choice is safe, and this journey is already fraught with hardship. So you can see here that we have 2 choices. We can either keep moving, which is the top choice. Each gear lock gains 1 additional DAX stat. No matter what, we will gain 1 towards defeating Barnacle. We'll also each gain a training point, and we'll gain 1 loot item that we'll need to share. Now, if we want to take a few minutes to get a lay of the land before proceeding, we can turn over the top baddie chip in each baddie stack, which is interesting, and we'll get 2 trove loot, but I think that I like the dex stat better. So that's what we're gonna do. Just so you guys know, you always start with a kind of day 1 encounter that's usually pretty easy. They're not gonna throw you to the wolves right off the bat. So let's go ahead and give ourselves each a dex stat. So that's gonna give 4 to Duster and 5 to Gasket. Now, for those of you wondering why you might see some additional dice on my board, I did go ahead and decide to play on kind of easy mode, which essentially gives you 2 additional health right off the bat, and then 1 training point to spend as you wish. Gasket ended up getting a +1 attack, and Duster ended up with her dagger. So I'm just here to have fun. I'm not here to, prove my mighty worth of too many bones. So hence why I just gave myself a little boost to begin with. Alright, so we've got this 1. I'm going to tuck this underneath Barnacle here in a minute so that I can remember, keep track of my 5. But I also get to go ahead and draw a loot card here. We've got Gearlock's Guide to Advanced Tactics. Single-use card. During a training attempt, you may choose to train any skill on your Gearlock mat, ignoring prerequisites, and automatically succeed an attack or defense attempt. So this is a really helpful card because anytime you need to upgrade your attack or defense, you actually have to roll dice and try and not get bones, and the roll is equal to what your current stat is. So the higher your stats get, the more likely you are to roll bones and have to spend your training point elsewhere. What sucks is that I got this right off the bat, and this is either going to hold on, keep a slot locked from my Gearlocks being able to hold stuff, or they I could go ahead and use it early, but we'll see what we are considering. For right now, I think I will give this. Gasket can hold stuff, he can't use stuff, so I'm gonna go ahead and have Gasket hold on to this. He's basically like a walking trunk. Alright, so that's my loot, and then I get a training point per member. So here again, I could go ahead and use that card and automatically upgrade Gasket health or defense here. I think what I'm gonna do is go ahead and may choose to train any skill in your Gearlock mat or automatically ignoring prerequisites. So that's interesting. I could go ahead and give myself, say, Vibroblades, which, if I remember correctly, are quite handy. But honestly, I don't know I think I need to give Duster some defense. She's already got +2 health here, but let me just remind myself what Vibroblades is going to give me here. Deal damage to the target. If it is a Crillon type or mech type, add 1 damage to the result. There's only 1 miss. We're looking at 1s, lots of 2s and 3s. And if you add D cells, you're adding stun effect. Whew. That is kind of hard to pass up. I think for right now, I am just going to go ahead and attempt my defensive roll. So I got 1 defense. I just need to not roll a bone. Okay, I'm set. So I get to now bump up my defense by 1. So she now has 2 defensive dice she can roll. And for Gasket, I'm going to do health, which, he already starts pretty low. So once I get him up to he's at 3 now, so this will be 4, I will, feel better about him. So he gets to automatically get his health chip right now. All right. So that is day 1. I am just going to go ahead and slide this under there so I can keep up with where we are on Barnacle. So we'll turn this to day 2 and we'll draw our next encounter card. This one reads, Pirating the Pirates. The escape went off well enough, but making a raft from scratch is too time-consuming with Nobulus's machinations' imminent arrival. Fortunately, a keen Gearlock eye spots a shady group of marauders that has already done the work. Known locally as the Scrap Lords for their practice of picking clean through those unfortunate city folk who venture too close to the Sibron, this ragtag group of vagrants often patrols the banks near Obendar, looking for its next mark. Today we've caught them napping. We can't take the raft now in broad daylight, or we can wait. We can take the raft now in broad daylight, or we can wait till nightfall and escape under the cover of darkness. So, our choices are to either commit a brazen act of piracy in broad daylight. Our baddie points would be 2, so essentially we'd be taking on 2 level 1 baddies. Gearlocks have surprise. Each gearlock may draw a loot during their first turn, may be used or kept, or you can commit a brazen act of piracy under cover of darkness. Baddie points. Gearlocks have surprise, but must start the battle on Crillon starting positions. Now I'm going to get an extra training point if I do this spot. So I think that's what we're going to do. Now I'm assuming, yeah, this second one's on the raft. This top one would be on land, obviously. So Gearlocks must have surprise, but must start the battle on the Crillon starting position. Okay. So just so I can remember what surprise is, I've got my handy dandy sheet here. Surprise: after setting initiation for this battle, move all opposing units to the bottom of the initiative meter. Okay, so that's easy enough. All right, so we are only gonna need. Okay, so on the rafts, 1 and 2 are on the outside. So that'll be interesting. We're not going to need these 2 die. I'll stick them over here. We will need blue and purple. Stick you right there. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and roll for Gasket and Duster. They were already pretty high. And we know they're going first, so we'll just tuck them up there. All right, so then I just need... We're on day 2, so our baddie points is going to be 2. Let's see who we start off with. A Dragon Betty, weaken 1, which means that you place a weaken effect die on the target. Gearlock's dex is reduced by that number on the next turn. Okay, he's got 3 health. He's got normally an initiative of 4. He is going to start right there because he is melee. He's going to go after the strongest person, and he basically just has 1 attack die that he uses each turn. All right, so next we have Plated Kobold. He is hardy, which means any turn this unit takes damage to its HP, total is reduced by 1, reduced to 1. Okay, so every time we hit him, no matter how hard we hit him, we're only hitting him for 1. He is also melee, so he's going to be over here. So they're kind of at opposite sides. The weakened Dragon Betty is going to go first and would normally go over top of Gasket, but since we have surprise, we all get to go first. Let's turn this to round 1. And now at this point, both Gasket and Duster can start either in the melee or the ranged, and Duster can actually start in any spot on the board. But unfortunately this time, since we're going for the more difficult challenge to gain the extra point, we have to start over here off on the edges. So what I'm thinking is going to happen is that I'll just park 1 over here. We'll do Gasket and Duster, and we will just try and see what we can do with our surprise attack here and start things off right away. We're not gonna fool around. Okay, so Duster gets to go ahead and go. Now this guy has not had a chance to roll his defense yet. Unfortunately though, I am probably not going to be able to take him out right away, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and roll my Duster's dagger. I'm going to roll 1 attack die here, and then I have a dex of 4, and the only place I can move, I guess I need to move on, so I think I need to move and use up 1 dex, so I'll get to roll 3 dice here. Alright, so wait, that was not right. Should have rolled one of these. Alright, so I got 1 defense, 1 hit, which will take off a chip. And then this bleed token. Now I didn't hit him at all, but what I get to do now is put this bleed die on him. So now when he activates, he's going to take 1 point of true damage. I'm going to use up my last dex to move out of the water and up on the raft. All right. Next we have Gasket going. So now Gasket, part of one of his things is that he's a robot, so he needs to he kind of uses hydro for all of his attacks. And Steambot, his innate ability, allows me to automatically gain half of his defense stat. So I could either choose to put this in as 1, 2, or 2 1s. So I'm just going to do that. Keep that there. And then I have 5 decks. One of those is always going to have to be this hydro valve die, which is either going to kind of cause me to use up hydro, especially right now. I don't have any of these other abilities which use hydro. Essentially think of it like he's full of steam. He's like a teapot or something, and that teapot has got to vent in some way or another. So he's either going to vent that steam by taking an action, and that uses the skill dice that I have not unlocked yet, or he's going to have to vent it with this die. And that's when you tick down your canister die here. Sometimes though he doesn't vent, and that's if you land this bone symbol, and it's a green bone symbol, which tells you you are going to have to use it and activate your backup plan immediately. Now hotfix, which is going to happen a lot, is quite handy because it just bumps up your defense by 1 stat. And some of these others are better, but it's difficult for him to get all the way up to Power Spike, which is going to allow him to upgrade to Steambot Pro, which would, instead of having my defense, I get all of it at the beginning of each battle. So that's what this die is. That's probably the most confusing thing about Gasket, is that you got to roll this die and you got to know what it means. You always start with your canisters full, so we'll probably look to upgrade our canisters here soon and get 2 or 3 out there. And then your skill dice also use that hydro. This is essentially going to help vent that steam so you don't malfunction and use your backup plan before you're ready. So I am going to use 1 dex to move, so then I've got 4 left. I got to spend 1 on this die, so I have 2 attack I can do. So that's 3, movement is 4. I got 1 more. I guess I will go ahead and roll 1 more defense die, because Gasket essentially is gonna end up being my tank. So we've got 2 hits, we've got our valve, and we've got 1 defensive die. So now this is part of the reason why I went ahead and put this in as a 2 and not 2 1s, because now I still have 1 more active slot available for another defensive die. I can go ahead and use this and tick this down. Remember, this is going to happen every turn. You're going to tick this down every turn in some way, shape, or form. So this goes back over here, and then 2 hits. This guy has no defense right now, so I'm just going to take 2 straight shots off of him. And then I too am also just going to move back onto the raft. Alright, so that is all of our turns for the gear locks. So now the baddies get to activate, and we're going to start with the dragon up here. He's a melee, so he doesn't need to go anywhere. And he simply is just going to attack with 1. Alright, so he's going to hit me for 1. I will go ahead and take that off for that. And then he is going to weaken me, which is the weaken effect die, which looks like this. So Gasket is weakened 1, which means he's only going to have 4 decks next turn. But that's okay. That's why I put Gasket up there against him, because he's already got pretty good. He's got more decks than Duster. Alright, so that's it for the dragon. And last, we've got the plated kobold here. As soon as he activates, he is going to bleed once. And then he gets to roll 1 defensive die and 1 hit die. Now, next time when he bleeds, that's going to go right through him. So I'm really not concerned with him anymore. I'm just hoping that he doesn't hit me too bad right here. Okay, so he hits me for 2, which kind of stunk. So I'm going to take that one away, but then I also am going to lose 1 health. Alright, and he also gets 1 shield, which, you know, means essentially you need to hit him for 2 just to kill him right now, but the bleed is going to take care of him, so I'm basically just going to run away from him now and come up here to even see if I need to help Gasket. So that is the end of the round. We're going to push all of these guys back, and from what I understand about surprise, this stays like this. I don't rearrange this guy. So let's take into consideration here what we want to do with Duster. So she can't use her dagger anymore. That's exhausted until the end of this battle. So all she can really do here, and she's at 5 health, so she needs to get down to 2 health before Nightshade would come out. So essentially all she can really do here is go 1, 2, 3, 4, take all of her decks to move up here. That seems kind of silly. You know, this would be a great case to, yeah, I don't even know what you can do here, but I'll go ahead and go 1, 2, 3, 4, because she's got 1, 2, 3, 4 HP. So does Gasket. So the dragon's going to go after the most strengthened. They're tied, so I would get to choose. But hopefully Gasket's just going to take care of business right now. So, all right. So that was Duster, and that was everything. We're going to go ahead and bring Gasket in. So he doesn't need to move this time. So we've got this one. We've got our 2 attack die. And just because we've got nothing else to do, we will go ahead and roll our 2 active die. Oops. All right. So we actually got 3 bones. For those of you not familiar with Too Many Bones, akin to their name, you roll bones and they are misses, but they're not bad misses because you get to put them into these slots, and at any point you want to, you can activate your backup plan, which is all bonuses. Gasket here has a blank one at number 2, but you can see that Duster here has everything up through 5, and then if she gets to 6, she gets to do her innate +1. Gasket gets something at his 6 and his innate +1. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and tick this down to 3, which is fine. I think we're doing good on that because we get to attack this guy for 2. He's only got 1. He's got no defense. And so that takes care of him. Put him up there. All right. So we are essentially done. This is taken off. So that means our kobold gets to go. And as soon as he goes, he loses a health point to bleed. So throw that back up there, throw you back up here, and throw you up there, and you're dead. All right. So that was a successful battle. So this can come off now. These guys can go back. And now we get to decide, what we want to do. So first things first, we're gonna get another point towards Barnacle. So we're gonna be 2 out of 5 of the way there. We're gonna get another loot. So let's see what that is. Crillon Caviar. Heal yourself for 1 HP at the start of each of your turns. Place this loot in your prep area to remind you of use. So that's interesting. So you'll use this during a battle, and it will stay with you through the entire battle. So I'm actually going to give this to Duster just so she can hold on to it and I remember to use it. And so then we get 2 training points, and that's 2 training points per gear lock. And this is what I really love. This is what I love about this game, is upgrading my gear locks with these unique dice and figuring out this plan. And it's just this RPG element is just what really shines in this game. So let's see here. I know that I probably want some more decks for Duster, so I'm gonna pump this up here, and then I think what I might do is go ahead and use, now since it's the recovery phase, we can pass stuff over. So I'm gonna pass gear locks, advanced tactics over here to Duster, who's just gonna immediately use it and bust out the vibro blade. Yeah, here we go. Now normally I would have had to have gone either flint and tinder and coming down to get vibro blades, or done throwing knives, but I've gone ahead and jumped the system due to advanced tactics and gotten my vibro blades out. I could have gone in to try and upgrade my attack, but the numbers on this die are much higher, so I'm only going to be able to use this once per battle, but when I really need it, hopefully this is going to give me a real big kick. So this will go back into our loot stack, and so that was 2 over here, and now coming over here to Gasket, I feel like we need to try and upgrade his attack and his primary canister. That way we have plenty of stuff to do. So for the attack, I'm going to need to roll 2 dice. All right, no bones, so we're safe there. So we can bump this up to 2, and then I can go ahead and get our primary. Oh no, wait, that's primary. Sorry, so this comes down here, secondary canister, which is number 6. All right, and so then we can purchase 1 more tertiary canister, but I feel like we don't have enough things we can do now, so we'll probably go after cut. I really like cut because that's another bleed token, and I love the bleed status. So we're gonna move on to day number 3. Now, I can go ahead, and I've got, almost forgot to heal because Duster is not at full health. So these need to come out. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and just heal up Duster, and then Gasket is going to look for, search, scout the area, roll a d6. That's what it is, this one. All right, 5 is going to allow us 4 through 5, reveal a 5-point baddie. All right, so we get to see what this guy is going to be. He'll stay face up. So we know we've got a trap, blind strike, pretty beefy fella at 6. He's going to initiate at 4. So we know here in a couple rounds, once we start getting to them, we know what we're going to get into. All right, so moving on now. We've taken care of our recovery phase. We've traded loot. We don't need to make a lock picking attempt. Duster rest and recovered, and Gasket scouted the area. Oh, and we may cycle the baddie to the bottom of the active stack if we so choose. Okay, so these are some pretty nasty stats. Just to give you guys an idea here, trap means that it only happens on land encounters only, so that's one thing. But Gearlock of Party's Choice rolls a d6 when entering battle, and basically we're either going to deal with poison, electrical, barbed trap, and so it's really just nasty. And then Blind Strike is at the start of turn. This unit deals, it would be 1 damage to the strongest adjacent unit, so before it even rolls dice. So I'm going to go ahead. I know these guys are all nasty, but I just didn't feel like dealing with him. So as part of Scout the Area, I can just push him away. Okay. So now we have gotten through day 1 and day 2 encounters. The rest of these, who knows, how bad they can be. The scaling happens with what day you're on, so that usually sets the baddie Q point value. All right, don't forget to smile. It's easy to forget that we can appear threatening to strangers. We know we're the good guys, but let's face it, Gearlocks aren't the most conventionally attractive species out there. A friendly smile can be interpreted as pure menace to those unfamiliar with our peaceful demeanor. That appears to be the reason the group of merchants we just greeted have hightailed it down the trail. We're low on provisions and some bartering could go a long way. We could chase them down, further adding to their fears until we can explain, or we could detain them with more creative means. Okay, so we can either chase and declare friendly disposition. Essentially this would mean that we can exchange any one loot for trove loot. Party may exchange any one loot or trove loot for new loot. I actually like my loot. So let's see what the other one is. They left behind a hunting net. You trap the merchant. Treat this card as loot. Disgruntled merchant. During recovery phase, Gearlocks may draw +2 loot when searching for better loot. Heavy. Permanent. Okay. So, he is heavy. Luckily, Gasket is not burdened by the size of the object. So I'm going to go ahead and treat this as loot so that I can get additional loot in the future. I only have 1 loot right now and I like it. So we're going to get 1 point towards advancing towards Barnacle. This is a really nice card, and we're each going to get a training point. Super awesome card to get. It basically like free money. So we're up to 3 out of 5. And what do we want to do with our training points? Well, I think we already discussed over here. We are going to go with Cut because this is such a great skill, and this is something that will use Hydro. So we'll talk about more of that when we actually use the die. Now, Duster over here could do Flint and Tinder, which can help her recover her health or Nightshade's health in between games. We could start upgrading Nightshade, but generally I find that it's pretty early on. Nightshade's not going to come in until Duster is hurting, so I'm hoping that Nightshade doesn't even need to come in very much anymore. We could go ahead and get Throwing Knives and just complete our Assassin package here. We could get Blade Dip Consumable, which is nice. That essentially means that we can put poison effect on our blade throughout the battle. Let me see. I don't remember what Bottled Smoke is, but I think I'm probably going to use something. Okay, on your turn, triggered untargetable effect die to yourself. So that's nice. Actually, let's do that. Let's go ahead and get, instead of health, we're going to go ahead and get Bottled Smoke. So if we land this, and I can roll this at any time, and it goes up in my, let's see here. Oh, it can go up in my active slot. So I can roll it. If I actually get the smoke, it'll go up here in my active slot, and then whenever I want, I basically poof. I go invisible until my next activation. So yeah, I really like that one. All right, so we are moving on to day 4. We're just rolling right along here. This one reads, Encounter Bomb Heist. Load the crate of explosive arrows onto the raft. The goblins who created them must be off searching for more materials, but their loss is our gain. In no time we are floating back down the river, a cache of valuable ammo in our possession. Don't get them wet or they're useless. As soon as the words are spoken, however, the familiar hisses of a school of Crillon and war cries from the shoreline surround us. Protecting the arrows might ease a future battle, but dumping them now would make dispatching these aggressors a whole lot easier. So, protect the arrows or don't. Baddie points includes 2 Crillons, so we're at 4. So that essentially is, we're just going to be fighting 2 Crillons, because I have to put in 2 Crillons. That's going to equal 6. It doesn't say Baddie points plus 2 Crillons, it says including 2 Crillons. Before a battle, place a d6 on a gear lock starting position. Cannot be moved from this position. Anytime a gear lock starts its turn on this position, its dex is limited to 2. If position with d6 is not occupied by gear lock or ally, at the end of any round, remove d6 from battle. If d6 still remains at the end of battle, treat this card as loot. Okay, so I'm getting 2 training points and a point towards Barnacle no matter what. But otherwise I can gain explosive arrows, which would be awesome. Let me just look at this more closely. Place a d6 on a gear lock starting position, which is in the middle of the raft here. Anytime, cannot be moved. Anytime a gear lock starts its turn on this position, its dex is limited to 2. If position with d6 is not occupied by a gear lock or ally, at the end of any round, remove d6 from battle. So if I got to the point where Nightshade could come in, Nightshade could literally just sit on the d6 and protect it. So, okay. So one of us always needs to be there, and whoever starts their turn there is going to be very limited in the dice they can roll. So I think, yeah, all right. Okay, so I get to pick. Let's just kind of, all right, let's see what our baddie queue is going to look like here. So we need our just top 2 again. So number 1 is going to be a Crillon Water Wraith. He's got Poison 1, which is not cool, and he's got 4 health. He initiates at 3. All right, I'll roll those in a second. And so he's melee, so he starts up here. And then our next baddie is Crillon Undertow. Ooh, hit point of 5. Jeez. And he's got Poison 2. He's also melee, so he's going to start over here. He can have a shield. This is the nasty one. All right, so I think what I'm going to do is put the arrows right here. Okay, so it doesn't really matter what number it's on. Let's see what initiative we're going at here. 6 and 3. Okay, so we're gonna go Duster, and then Tide. Gearlocks always get to initiate faster than the baddies, so similar to last time, looks very similar. So we are gonna start Duster right here with holding on to the arrows. All right, and poison means that set or reset poison effect die on target to the number. Target takes true damage equal to the effect die at the start of its turn. After applying damage, reduce effect die by 1. All right. So what we are going to do then is put Gasket right here. He's going to try and take this guy out as soon as possible. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Duster gets to activate first at 6. So we can't move, but we only get 2 dice that we can roll. I want to go ahead, I can deal with a little bit of poison. I want to get cut on this guy, and I want to get a defensive die out there. So these are my 2 that I'm going to roll for 2 dexterity. All right, so 1, I was hoping for a 2, but that's fine. But I did get to cut this guy, and so he's going to be bleeding for 1 the rest of the game. So that's it, very quick turn for him. And now Gasket's got a lot more he can do. Now I always start by plugging these up here at full strength. So I've got 10 hydro I can work with. I have to roll this one. I'm also going to roll this one. I'm going to go ahead and I get to set this as part of my Steambot innate ability. But then I'm going to go ahead and roll another one. And I've got 5 decks I can spend. So I guess I will go ahead and roll these 2. So here's my 5 dice. All right, so my defense missed. That's fine. This goes into here. Now, my since my cut ability is going here, and let me just, I believe cut just means I can hit 2 people. Place bleed effect on an adjacent user, also place bleed effect die on a unit directly behind that one. So there's nobody behind him. So let me find another one that's got bleed on it here. There we go. All right, so he's bleeding. This one though, my dice don't exhaust. I don't know if you can see the artwork here, but the exhausted dice section is covered up. I don't know if that was on purpose or not, but I always get my dice back. So I don't know if I can put a 2 bleed on this guy or not, but I think you can only do it once. But I technically have this die back, and you know, so just good to know for future reference. All right, so this ended up using up some hydro, so this will tick down to 4, and so this I don't need to use because I already vented some. And then I just hit him for 2. He doesn't have any shields up yet. So there you go. All right. All right, so that's his turn. So now our Crillon Wraith, Water Wraith is going to go. He is going to poison one, and he's going to roll a single die. All right, so he's going to hit me for 1. And then he's going to poison me. And that's okay. I am okay with this. Alright, stick this over here. No. Just so we don't get confused. Alright, and I forgot to take his off. Wait, and I should not have taken hers off the bottom because she did have 1 shield. So there we go. Corrected everything. And then we're going to go down here. He is going to poison 2 after he rolls here. Ooh, all right. So he activated, so he's going to lose a health. And then he's going to shield up for 1 and then attack Gasket for 2. And so that's essentially going to take away his shields. So, all right. And now Gasket has a poison 2 on him. Okay, so we are good to move on to, well, I forgot to set that, but that's where we're supposed to be, round 2. All right, so Duster still only gets her 2 activations, so I think what we're going to do now is roll Vibro Blades, possibly get a hit on this guy. If not, hopefully bottle smoke rolls and I can go ahead and take this. So I do have to go ahead and take my poison. So poison 1 comes off, and that is going to be direct damage. Then I can roll these 2. All right, I've got bottled smoke and I've got Vibro Blades 1. So the Vibro Blades will take 1 off of him, and then I am going to go ahead and use bottled smoke, which technically means I can throw out untargetable die, which is these leaves here. I'm hiding in the bushes. All right. So now I can't be seen, which is cool. And I'm still holding on to the arrows. All right. So that was Duster. Gasket now gets to go. Again, we have to roll this one. I am going to roll 2 defense die this time. And I guess, yeah, my 2 attack, because this guy's already bleeding, so I don't really need to do much of anything else. Alright, so 2 shields. Now I do need to put these in as they appear. I can't just make them be 1, 2 die. And so if I only had 1 slot available, I'd have to dismiss 1. I've got 1 bone here. Attack for 2, and my Hydro, which I have to tick down right here. So that goes like that. But this guy is now dead. So he gone. Put all these back here. And oh, Gasket was gonna have to forgot to take away, yeah, because he did not have any shields or I don't think poison goes right through the shields. But anyways, all right, so this guy's done. Put this up here. All right, so that was Gasket's entire turn. The purple guy is out of the race now, and this guy can no longer see Duster, so he's gonna go 1, and now I get to choose, and so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It really doesn't matter. He's 3 spaces away, so I can actually put him right here so the Duster can take a pot shot at him here in a second. So that's all for that. So we are on to round 3. And again, at this point, just to be safe with her 2 decks, I'm going to go ahead and roll 1. So this comes off. 1 defense and 1 attack. Maybe we'll get lucky here. All right, well, 1 defense, I'll take it. And the 1 attack is actually going to take care of this guy because he's got the bleed effect. So we'll give that to Gasket. Unfortunately, I wish I had taken him out. Maybe I should have just tried to roll more attack die, because now Gasket is going to have to go, and I believe poison goes right through the shields. I'll check that in a second. But he's going to have to use 1, 2 decks to come up here, and so he's got going to have 3 left. One of those is going to be this, so he'll just roll 2 attack. All right, and so he's got it plenty. He's got to tick this down to 2. Took care of that. Uses 2 decks. Boom, boom. Plenty enough to kill this guy, who is going to bleed out anyways. So this guy is gone. All right, and we were successful. So let's go back over here. We now get to keep this card as loot. We're going to give it to Gasket because it's heavy. We get to add 1 more point to the, you know what, I forgot to, no, this guy was heavy. That's what it was. I need to put this guy over here and just remember I've got that point. So this is my 4th now, and I'm going to give these to Duster. Deal 2 damage to any position and 1 damage to adjacent positions on the battle mat. 2 uses. So, alright, let's return these here. Duster's dagger, bottle of smoke. Okay, boom, boom, boom. Alright, but I am now at 4 out of 5 that I need, and I get 2 training points per member here. So let's bring these guys back. I think we're just going to heal up here, both of us, because 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. All right. So 2 points that we can use for our people. We don't really need canisters right now. I could start doing directives or blitz. Let's look at Gasket's thing here. Blitz is good. Scram is a great way to get movement. So I need to start with Ram. Ram means I can damage the unit and push them. And then get Scram, which means I just roll 1 die for movement instead of using it up for dexterity. Blast, let's see, Blast is going to be a ranged die, so that's cool. he could use some range. Maybe I'll start with Blast. Nope, Blast has to come after Blitz. Okay, and let's see. Blitz is deal number of damage to adjacent all units. Adjacent to that unit take 1 damage. Okay, so it's essentially an energy arc. Down here we could do grab, which means that as long as the unit is adjacent to us, his attack stat is reduced by 1. So maybe we'll try that. I've actually never used that one. So let's go ahead and give him grab down here. Since it has a star next to it, we don't have to go around the horn. All right, this is going to give us more stuff to spend our hydro valve on. I feel like his health and defense are okay, so I'm going to go ahead and give him blitz as well. So he's got lots of tools to do the attacking now. Now, as part of his recovery, I am going to just bump him back up to full health. And Duster over here she could also use a ranged attack. I could bump her up to 6 health. I could bump up her attack, maybe would be good to have more attack die. Let's see what infusion bracers are gonna do. The next time a baddie attacks you, deal number of damage in return, even if you are defeated. Okay. And so it's basically 2, but there's a better chance of hitting bones. All right. Promise of Prey would be a great one to bring out now. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt for an attack stat right now. So I have to roll 2. So we can't get her to 3. All right, so I rolled a bone. So this first training point has to go somewhere else. So I think what we're going to go ahead and do is just complete our assassins. Now both of my people have a ranged attack, even though they are melee characters essentially. Now this second one, I have a second training point, so I'm going to try this again. Alright, and I got it. So now I can take my last die here, and now I can roll up to 3 attack die per turn. That way if I've used all this stuff up, I still can have a pretty proficient turn. So, alright. That is the end of that, and I'm also going to 1, 2, 3, 4 rest her as part of the recovery phase. Okay, so we need one more gear symbol. Oops. Let's see if we can get it here. Encounter under new management. A lifeless mech swarm lies sprawled on the ground. Even Nobulus's genius has limits. We each gingerly examine one of the bird-wasp-looking drones, but no one spots any damage. It's as if whatever signal had guided them has been extinguished. Small miracles, we'll take it. After we choose a drone to tinker with the next few hours, see each of us controlling what we can to fix the mech. Finally, its computers whir to life, and having been severed from whatever link it shared with the swarm, it now calmly awaits new orders. Our orders. Interesting. So this is another non-battle event we have here. Build a bot workshop, and this is going to give us our 5th point here. Party may build a bot by assigning a 1, a 2, and a 3 in any order for its HP, attack, and defense stats. Party may also roll a d6 as many times as they choose to attempt to improve these stats. Okay, so it's like push your luck, because if anytime we roll a 1, the bot is destroyed. Alright, once party decides bot is complete, place bot HP, defensive dice, and attack dice in a Gearlock's prep area for use in the next battle. Only as a companion, the bot is considered a melee unit and enters the battle mat before battle. Bot takes its turns after the party leader's turn, moving up to 2 positions and rolling its attack and defense against an adjacent target. Encounter success is achieved no matter the outcome. Okay, so, alright, party may build a bot by assigning a 1, a 2, and a 3 in any order for its HP, attack, and defense. Alright, so I think we're going to give it, because this could be useful to be helpful here. So we're going to give it 3 health, 2 attack, and 1 defense. Alright, so this is the die. It technically has a dexterity of 3. Now, I think I'll go ahead and I'll push my luck once at least. If I roll 4 through 6, I'm going to build a stat. If I 2 through 3, I'm going to remove a stat. Now, this isn't a bad companion. This is essentially the, a nightshade almost. It's almost better than a nightshade right now. Do I really want to risk destroying it or losing the stats? I have a 50% chance of adding to the stats. It'd be nice if it had 4 HP, but I think I'm just going to pass. I'm not even going to risk it. Because 2 or 3, it just becomes less. So this guy, I'm just going to leave him here on the battle mat. That's our kind of ugly looking bot. And this is our 5th now point. I'll just kind of leave that open so I can remember. So that's our 5th point. We could take on Barnacle next with our bot companion, which would be cool. Let's go ahead and give ourselves some training points here. I think what I want to do is, before I take on Barnacle, give Duster some more health. Alright, so she's at 6. And let's see. I've got 2 canisters. I feel good there. I could go ahead and do Blast, which is going to do a ranged attack. I think that's what we'll do. So Blast is my ranged attack. I misspoke earlier when I said both of us all now have ranged attacks. Now both of us do. So I'm feeling pretty confident that I can just keep rolling defensive die here, and I don't have to worry about Gasquet's health for right now. So let's go ahead and do it. We are now on day 6. I forgot to turn the marker because we've accumulated 5 gear locks in a row. I have I did not earn any loot there, but I can go ahead and during the recovery phase, gear locks may draw +2 loot when searching for better loot. Oh, okay. Alright, so I'm going to just hold on to this guy for a minute. I've got Crillon Caviar I can use. I have got my explosive arrows. Deal 2 damage to any position and 1 damage to adjacent positions on the battle mat. So yeah, I think we're ready to go. I'm feeling very good about this. And we've got our bot. So let's do this. Alright, so now that we have 5 points, we can flip over the Barnacle here and read what it says. Place tentacles 1 through 4 on Crillon starting positions. And so party of 2, add tentacles 5 and 6 to the baddie queue, add Barnacle to the bottom of the baddie queue. Tentacles added after round 1 are placed on the bottom of the initiative meter. Tentacles do not roll tyrant die. Only Barnacle must be defeated for encounter success. At the end of each round, if Barnacle is on the battle mat and there are still tentacles in the baddie queue, Barnacle will leave the battle to the bottom of the baddie queue and will not re-enter the battle for the next round. So if we feel like we can one-shot him, we can try and get him out and then one-shot him. Other than that, we essentially need to defeat the tentacles in order to keep him from disappearing. So his tyrant die is got to recuperate, withdraw an injured tentacle from battle and place it back in the baddie queue, or a tentacle wrap. Target the strongest opposing unit adjacent to a tentacle. Place target on any available Crillon starting position. So you place him off the mat here. Okay. So essentially there's no other baddies except for the tentacles here, which I went ahead and set aside at the, nope, these are not them. I sent them over here. All right, so I'm just gonna tuck these over here, get them out of the way because we don't need them right now. So tentacle 1, tentacle 2. I guess I should probably go ahead and give these guys 1, 2, 3, 4, just so we can keep up with them because people are going to come in at the bottom of the initiative meter. All right, 1 is here, 2 is here, 3, whoops, 3 is right here, and 4 is right here. All right, so I guess they'll just go in. Okay, no, they do have their own initiatives. So this guy is 3, 2 is 2, 3 is 3, and 4 is 4. So this can go up here, this can go like that. All right, okay, so these guys go off to the side. You can see there's Barnacle. He's going to have 8 health for initiative. I'm going to have to remind myself what that little symbol means right there. So, okay. All right. So, remembering that careless, shock, submerge. There's something about how these guys are going to attack the boat if nobody's adjacent to them, and we have to keep the boat alive too. But where are those instructions? Submerge? Are they part of the submerge stat? If this unit would move, instead roll a d6 and place in the number Crillon starting position. Okay, so this guy's gonna move tentacle 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so I don't see here where at the end of each round, tyrant into the deep, withdraw an injured tentacle, place tentacles in Chronicle starting position, add Barnacle. Am I just making this up? Yeah, there were 2 encounter cards here that we didn't get to. No, that doesn't say anything about it. All right, so we're just gonna go ahead and go here and not worry about the boat, because I don't see anywhere. Maybe I was making that whole thing up. All right, if you know something different or remember something different than me, please feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. But we are gonna go ahead and not start right next to these guys, since we each have some ranged attacks we can put on them first. Actually, let's go ahead and start right next to them. So we'll do this. Cut I could use to push through them, but I'd have to be right here. So I don't know how much this is gonna do, but I think Blitz will allow me to target adjacent. Yeah. So I'm definitely gonna want to use Blitz first with the energy arc. So it's going to damage adjacent units. I want to save these, so we're just going to attack maybe this one guy. Oh, I forgot to give them all health chips. Here's 1. This guy is 3. This is really bothering me that I can't remember what the special rules were for this scenario. But, alright, 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, I want to save all my special die for Barnacle. So, alright, let's go ahead and roll in here. Okay, 5 and 4. Perfect. Okay, and our little robot guy here is going to, I guess he can start right here and then move in. All right, so that's that. If I understand it correctly, I just get to roll all 3 of these every single time for him. Okay. Duster's going first. She is simply going to keep, let's go ahead and get Bottle Smoke ready. I'm going to use this next round so then she can roll. She's got 5 decks and she needs 1 to move. So she can roll 4. Let's roll defense. All right, so let's prepare ourselves for the long haul. Okay, here. So I was essentially going after this tentacle, but that seems like overkill here. I believe I can use this here and then this guy on this one. There we go. I believe I am doing that correctly because I cannot be orthogonally adjacent to any of these spaces from where I am. So I believe that counts, and I believe as long as I'm adjacent to these guys, I can split up those die however I want. Then I've got my Bottle of Smoke that's going to sit here, and my defense missed, so that's fine. Then my robot gets to go. This guy comes out. He is dead, and Initiative 1's going to come in at the start of the next round. So he's going to come out. All right. So my robot gets to roll in here. He is going to take care of this guy as well. All right. So he didn't get to activate, so that'll get filled up. And no defense for him. He doesn't do bones or anything like that. So neither of these guys need to move. But I think I will go ahead, and I forgot to move Duster and just, well, no. I'll go ahead and attack. Yeah. Gasquet's fine over here. He's fine by himself. All right. So now we'll do Gasket. We get to put these up at full strength. All right. And I'm going to use Arc here. I want to save these. Well, let's go ahead and use this on the big guy since I think I can only put bleed on Barnacle once, and this actually is going to come back too, so I don't know why I wouldn't use these. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'll use 1 dex to back up because I don't think I can get all these guys. All right, so this is going to hit this guy for 2, and then this guy for 1, which is nice. All right, this, and remember I get to just put these right back. Gets to put a bleed on this guy. I already used some hydro, so I don't need to use that. Oh, and I used 2 of these, so that's 3 decks, because this is 1 to spend this and 2 more to spend this for a total of 3. And this was a bone, so that's going to go up there. All right. And then I'm going to use my last dex to go right here. All right. So again, there's got to be something somewhere about these guys wanting to hurt the boat. But I don't even see it. I don't even know where that information is. I feel like I'm just definitely missing something. Barnacle? Yeah, Barnacle. Barnacle, Barnacle, Barnacle. All right. Okay, so moving on, we get to 3 has to come out, so now 4 is going to go. He's got Shock 1, which means exhaust number of skill dice from target's skills area, excluding dice used as counters, okay. But he can't reach us, right? He has no range. They're all melee. He just activated, so he's got to take his bleed out. And that's it. He's just going to roll his 1 defense die because he can't reach anybody. Okay, and then he gets 1 defense, but he's going to be dead on his next activation anyways. Alright, and then we'll go up here, and this guy is going to do Submerge, which means if this unit would move, instead roll a d6 and place in the number Crillon starting position. Okay, so he would move because he has no target right now, and he would come to 3, which would be here, and 4, 5. Alright, so he's going to come right here. So he actually did get, we should have moved this guy. He got into position to make an attack on our robot here. Alright, but he hit him for 1. Alright, oops. So there we go. Robot's down. Alright, so that's that. So now we get to bring in the other guys. So this guy's going to come in first here. He'll come in right here. And then this guy will come in right here. Need to give them some health. One, two, three, four, five, 6. Okay. At the end of each round, if Barnacle is on the battle mat and there are still tentacles in the baddie queue, Barnacle will leave the battle to the bottom of the baddie queue and will not re-enter the battle for the next round. Okay. Alright, so let's try and knock as many of these guys out before we bring Barnacle out next round, because this guy's certainly going down. Alright, so we got those guys out there. They get pushed to the bottom of the queue. Whoops. And now we are on round 2. Alright, so we are going again with Duster. I feel like we should go ahead and use this one on this big guy here. I've got 5. Save this. I'm going to use Bottled Smoke after this. I want to roll at least 1 defensive die. I can roll 3 attack die. So there's my 5. I'm just rolling the defensive die for future rolls because I'm going to be straight invisible after this. Alright, so there's 1 more bone. I am going to be able to bleed this guy out. 2 defense, which is lovely, and 2 attack. So it's going to be this guy right here. Alright. So that was a pretty good round. Then my robot gets to go. He's going to go ahead and try and take this guy out right here. Alright, so he pretty much did that with ease. And he gets to keep his 1 defense, and this guy is gone. So I put that up there. So this is where Barnacle's going to come in at the beginning of the next round. Okay, and so he rolled a 1 and a 2, so he can focus his other 2 on this guy. 1, 2. Alright. So that's not bad at all. And then he can move 2. He's always got a movement of 2, so he'll come over here and get out of the way. Alright, you are invisible. Let's do Gasket. Gasket is going to go ahead and roll, let's see, defense, and this one, he'd have to use a lot to get up 1, 2, 3 out of his 5. So we're just going to fire this one, roll 2 defense, that's 4. Oh, what the hey, why not roll? There we go. Oh, I forgot to... Did I start the battle like this? I don't think I did. Alright, let's go ahead and roll one more defensive die just in case we roll some bones here. And we did, 2 bones. Okay, so these are going to go up right away. This one is going to use up some hydro here. Boop. But I get to attack 1 from range. I don't think this goes to anybody non-adjacent unit. So let's go ahead and take this guy. And hydro valve I don't need to use, and this one is going up there. All right. So there we go. Pretty good round. Okay. So green here, he is going to activate and he's going to bleed out. All right. So this goes away, and green's going to come off. Purple also is done. So then blue's going to activate. He cannot see Duster, so he's going to submerge and pop out at 6. Okay. And again, I know that he's going to be doing some damage here, so I'm going to go ahead and roll his dice for him. Oh man, I need to pull some more dice out of my box here, but we'll just do that. He's got 2 and 2. Okay, so he is going to get 1 shield, and then he's going to do 1 point of damage to the ship. And that's, I've got these brown tokens over here. I know these are for damaging the ship, so we're just going to do that. Because I just feel like there's got to be some tension here, or else I could just sit in the middle with Gasket and fire his blast all over the place. But all right, so then this guy, he does not have submerge, he cannot see anybody, he simply is just going to activate and roll his 1 defense die. All right, and it was a miss. Okay, so that's everybody's turn. Everybody is dead. So then Barnacle here is going to come in at initiative 4. So he's going to be going before his guys. He's got 8 health. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so this video has been going on long enough here. Let's take care of this. So he's no longer going to disappear because there's no one in the batting queue, so it's just us and these guys, and this guy's going to be dead. This guy can pop up, possibly hurt us, but let's do this. All right, so everybody gets reset. He's got 2 the deep. We took care of that. He's got 1, 1, and 1. Let me just remind myself what that symbol might mean on him. Special baddie icons. Orthogonal poison 2. Maybe that just means he's a tyrant. Yeah, I don't see where that's listed anywhere. So, okay. Alrighty, here we are now round 3. And Duster's going to activate. She's going to be done with that die. She is going to probably move 1 here. Yeah, move 1. So now she's got 4 decks left. She's going to use her throwing knives. And yeah, I want to keep a distance. So maybe we'll go 1, 2, 3. Go right there. Use throwing knives and the shield. All right, so she's got plenty of shield now. Moving forward and throwing knives did 1 point of damage here. Okay. She also is going to use her explosive arrows. Deal 2 damage to any position. If d6, 2 damage to any position and 1 damage to adjacent positions on the battle mat. 2 uses. Okay. So she is going to go ahead and just do 2 straight damage to Barnacle. I'm assuming Barnacle counts as being on the battle mat. Yeah, he's on the battle mat. All right. Luckily there's nobody adjacent to him, but maybe this guy will move over here next turn. All right. Then this guy I don't think can quite make it up to Barnacle, so he's just going to go over here. 1, 2, and take a shot at this guy with his dice. Whoops, this should not have been rolled. It was already a 1. And he's just going to hit this guy for 2. That's going to remove his die for 1. So he loses 1 health. All right. Remember, we don't need to kill the tentacles to be successful here. Okay. I don't think he's going to be long for this world, but we'll see. All right. Gasket is going to move in here. So that was 1. So he's got 4 left, 3 left, 2 left. And there, we're gonna do it this way. Okay, so here's an instance where we got our bones, but we can either use it to do reprogram, which reprogram says after applying directive dice, roll and apply all available. So reprogram is basically useless. Power spike, deal 3 damage to an adjacent unit. All units adjacent to that unit take 2 damage. Does not affect Gasket. All units adjacent to the unit deals 1 damage. Does not damage unit more than once. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and use power spike here. So I can decide which order I place these into my battle mat. So I can do this one and this one, and then I have to go ahead and use power spike, but that's fine. I get to flip my guy over, which means he's an 8 + 1, and I'm going to do 1, 2, 3 damage to Barnacle. That was great timing. And so all of these dice, including this one, which is going to come back in here, come back, and so does this one. All right. Then I'm going to do 2 more damage, and you know what, folks? That is it. I could have put a bleed token on him, but we took that sucker out before he could even activate. Barnacle's epilogue. Barnacle lunges toward the underwater caverns he has protected so carefully. Foam and spray gush around the raft. Severed tentacles sail overhead as he gurgles his last breath and sinks into the depths. While the submerged caverns are too deep to explore without a breathing apparatus, the cave entrance contains plenty of discoveries. Cases and chests full of books lay strewn about the entrance floor, each book's pages preserved in a watery stasis. Most can be identified as early Gearlock Academy texts. Barnacle and his kind, it seems, have been reading, learning, adapting. The Crillon are clearly a greater threat than anyone has stopped to consider, and this type of intelligence from such a species is unnerving. So we've gained Barnacle's eye, which is essentially gaining his attack die here to ourselves. I'm gonna have to look and see how it works. Like if I give it to Gasket, can he always get it back since he doesn't exhaust dice? That would be interesting, but essentially you can either keep a baddie from moving or you can deal 1 true damage to a Crillon character. So we will keep this as an item. I did go ahead and figure out what I was remembering about the raft here being damaged, and it mentions in both the Crillon section where it talks about wreckage. Essentially, if it has nothing else to wreck, it will wreck and it go after an adjacent piece of the raft that's not already wrecked. And it also mentions that same thing here under the battle mat section, wreckage chips. So essentially what happens is that it would wreck this one. We get to choose it first, and then it would try and wreck this one. If it didn't move or it was stuck here and it tried to wreck, it wouldn't wreck any further. And if at any point there's 5 wreckage chips on the raft, then your raft sinks and you lose the encounter. But this was the only opportunity that Tenable had to attack someone. I went ahead and put a wreckage chip down, so we were covered for that. Alright, so the last thing we need to go ahead and cover here is our campaign card. This was drawn randomly from a stack of campaign cards, so we'll see what it says. Splintered Salvation. The battle ends with less intensity than the dive needed to escape the free-falling crate. A drone drops it from high above the trees, and wood pieces splinter in all directions upon impact with the ground. The tech inside looks a great deal more complex than anything we've seen in the deep wood, like one of the machines the council was always rumored to be building. Perhaps the drone thought it was delivering a care package to old Nobulus. It's hard to say. Either way, despite being damaged in the drop, this machine will come in handy. Campaign rewards. Alright, so this is a card you can tick. Says treat this card as loot. MW Proto 5. When Gearlock is defeated with this in their possession, they may roll their attack die against a valid target prior to being removed from the battle mat. If this attack defeats the final baddie encounter as a success, tyrants cannot be targeted 2 uses. So what I'm not sure about is, it looks like this is giving us advancement towards the next tyrant. It also has this symbol, which was on Barnacle, and I'm assuming it's going to give us a training point. So I'm going to remind myself of all the campaign rules. What do I get to save? I'm assuming I get to save all these training points as I move forward. We're on day 6. So again, look for more of this clarification at the beginning of the next video. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. If you would like to be made aware of when the next Undertow campaign video launches, please consider subscribing to the channel. I know this video is long, but thank you for sticking through it with me. Once again, thank you for watching and have a wonderful evening.